Good day, everybody. Welcome to Winterland. It's our first 2025 snow, and it's 80 degrees in here. This is where I like to be. I like to throw our disclaimer down. We don't, this is for educational purposes only. We don't sell or condone any type of drug use. And if you're not 18 or 21 or whatever the age you gotta be, please leave. There's Digger right over there, dug in. And the only reason I say that is because YouTube doesn't like us talking about cannabis. We got some babies in here. These are my yellow skunks. So we're gonna see if we can find something we like, and if we don't, oh well. I know we'll find something that we can use as medicine. So look at this string algae that's coming up, or growing, I should say. This happens all the time. This is a good sign, actually. It tells us we got life. It's food for all the critters. We can just easily pull it right on out of here, pile it up, let the worms and everything run through it. This is where we get our nice little pile of worms to feed Cooter and Scooter sometimes. Look at them. They just... You running? There is nowhere to run. There is nowhere to run. Watch this. I bet Pooter gets that one. Oh, didn't see it. Don't tell me that thing's gonna make it all the way to the bottom. Are y'all kidding me? Y'all let that worm run right by you? Holy cow. All you want is a nugget. You're addicted to the nuggets. Something will get it, I guarantee you. Man. One delicious worm right down to the bottom. Missed it. Oh, almost on top of them. I get a couple. Scooter will come up and suck down like 10 of those at one time. But Scooter can swallow them down whole now too. And the leftovers, all the little ones get. They are getting big. Scooter especially here. She has gotten huge compared to Cooter. Look at the size difference. Yum, yum, yum. Both of them look super healthy though. No slime on the shells. Their skin looks really good. Pooter, the goldfish, looks super healthy. That's one way you can tell. If the fish don't look healthy, then the turtles definitely won't look healthy. The turtles can handle some really nasty stuff. I mean, they've been around for millions of years. So you can imagine that they can live in just about any type of situation. The fish, on the other hand, cannot. Like the mollies and the babies, if they're not looking good, if they're not moving and eating, if the pooter is discolored, not moving, not eating, then we got problems. The turtles probably, the only way we'd know if the turtles were sick, if they won't coming out, if they won't eating, if their color was off, they had this slime on them, this filthy little slime. But the lactic acid bacteria that we put in the water just eats that right up. Like, you won't see any of that in here. That's why Pooter's, so bright in color. All the fish are super bright in color. There's Plinko, our algae eater, getting huge. There's another prehistoric fish. Can live in just about any type of water, fresh water. But I'm talking about, like, it can be some nasty stuff, and those things can manage. The little minnows and stuff can't handle it. They'll die right off. The last things in this pond, if we had issues, if we had problems and we weren't taking care of it properly, all the minnows would die. We'd get massive algae blooms. Brown algae would start popping up. All kinds of nasty stuff would start happening. But since we have the creek here and we maintain the creek, the creek is our filtration. So we have to clean it and maintain it just like we do an aquarium. You have, like, a saltwater aquarium has a sub tank underneath. You have to clean this. You have to, do things to make sure that everything stays in balance. Same principle here. We got to remove. We want some algae. We want some of that string algae, but we don't want it to take over. We want the shrimp. This algae is food for shrimp. It's a home for them to do their babies. So we just pull it up on here, get it out of the creek. But also, the algae catches a lot of that poo that would be going into the pond. And that's why we put these ChemiPure bags in here. And that really helps. This is just biochar and some synthetic type stuff they've come up with to help clean fresh water and salt water. Of course, you can use this in any type of water, fresh, salt, super biological rich. Once this fills, it takes about a month. They're good for about a month. Each bag is good for about 75 gallons of water. We've got about 200, but we've only probably got about 75 in the creek. Maybe 50 to 75 gallons of water stretched out in the creek. So one of these, two of these is really good. In here, we put it right in this bend here. The water is coming down through here. It's going to hit into here, into this bag, and it's going to spin and go on in. This is where a lot of the bad stuff is going to get trapped. A lot of those gases and nitrates and ammonia, all coming from the fish shit and the turtle shit and the shrimp shit and all the shit. A lot of it gets trapped in this thing here, and we just remove this. And what I do is put it right in the soil and let the critters come up and eat away at that bacteria. And then we'll take, once this kind of dries out, we'll take this and put the biochar in our IMO. Well, actually, this is brand new. I don't want to take the top off right now, but we're cooking, making some CO2. We also got some fungus gnat going on in here. Got a few fungus gnat. I don't know if you can see them. I hung this thing up here. You can see we had a fungus gnat bloom in the IMO that I brought inside. I haven't seen really any in the bed, but just over here by this IMO that we're cooking, getting some CO2 going. And also, it's just, look at that, there's some biology going right there. Ooh, I feel the heat. I'll have to turn that here. We don't want to go over 120. We're perfect right now. Let this cook. I also want this CO2. It's different temperature around different areas. But all this is sawdust, wheat bran, malted barley, a little bit of alfalfa meal, some kelp meal, those are the hard ingredients. The soft ingredient, the liquid, is humic acid, OHN, Oriental Herbal Nutrient, FAA, living vinegar, that's apple cider vinegar. We got a little brown rice vinegar. We got a little FPE from dichondra beets, radishes, and turnips. And water. Oh, and some sea salt. A little bit of sea salt. And that's it. Pour that in 2 gallons. Water that in. Mix it up in the cement mixer while we're watering it. Put it in the tote. Let her cook. She will produce CO2 and look at that. Whoa. She's hot. So we might need to turn her, and I need to find my, left it outside, figures, but what we can do is just give her a little air. You can see she's starting to stick together. You can see the blooms coming. That is biology. That's what we want to see. Eventually all this will be white. Like a white, almost like a spider web like. We may have to get a little bit more moisture on this. It's starting to dry out a little bit. Yeah, we need to get a little moisture on here. This is just rainwater. Just kind of spurts it a little bit just to keep it moist. Don't want it to dry out, but I don't want it to be soaked either. This will also cool it off a little bit. Keep it from drying out so bad. Ignore my mess. We got shit everywhere. We did clean up a little bit over here though. Oh, we gotta turn the fan on. Turn that off when we're making a video for Instagram because it's kind of loud, but it needs to be turned on all the time. You can see the edges being pulled in. Like, see that gap? This will shrink. Suck that biology, it'll just be eaten away. It'll shrink this pile. Yeah, she's warm. She is warm. It's going to start to feel like a sponge too. And all that biology is just eaten away, using this stuff as food and heating themselves up. You see those fungus gnats stay right at the top. They're using the moisture and the heat to lay their eggs right on top. This is why having it inside is kind of a pain, but I want the CO2. I want free CO2. That's what I want here. And I'm getting great IMO 3 at the same time. I don't really give a shit about the fungus gnats. They come and go. They'll be here probably until I get this out of here, and then they'll just disappear. They can't survive in the bed. And the reason I say they can't survive in the bed is because the bed is way too packed full of biology. They're good critters over here. So any fungus gnat larva that gets laid over here in this soil is not going to survive. The rove beetles, the springtails, the mites, all these beneficials and non-beneficials, all these things are going to prevent, like any type of new type of species, like a fungus gnat or any type of weak species especially, you know. I mean, it would probably take grasshoppers, something high up on the chain, you know what I mean, high up on the poop loop chain, to come in here and take over. And I'm not saying I can't get aphids or thrips, but the thrips are probably the biggest thing I've seen in here. I haven't seen aphids, I haven't seen spider mites, which were a big deal for me around here. Spider mites and aphids are huge around here. That was my biggest issue growing indoors in a tent, were spider mites. And then we found Lost Coast plant therapy that kind of solved that, but I didn't want to keep spraying shit, so I figured out through YouTube and through you know, just good people on the internet about the beneficial insects, and started researching beneficial insects and realizing that if there's a bad guy, there's a good guy out there ready to battle it. So all we gotta do is figure out which is good, which is bad, which we pretty much know, and add the good when there's the bad. And then when too much good becomes bad, we just lay off the good and the bad will come back. We don't have to add bad. The bad always comes back, but the good, if too much good, will turn bad. If you understand what I'm saying, that's kind of my philosophy. You can start something and do it and do it and do it, and it's great for you, and then eventually you do it too much and it becomes a bad thing. Kind of like kelp meal. You use kelp meal, it's great. Too much, overload. There's a rev limiter here. There's a full and an empty. We don't want to go over the full. We want to be right above. I like being at 3/4. That's where I like to be. The vehicle seems to run a whole lot better right at 3/4. Not full, not half, but right at 3/4. She seems to run the best. We get the best fuel economy. We get the best everything right at 3/4. If we can hold at half and at 3/4 and a half, is where we like to be. If you understand that analogy on when it comes to watering and newts and feeding your plants, that's where I like to be. I would feed something like maybe once every 8, 9, 10 days, depending on how I feel and what the plants look like. You know, if they look like they need something, it's usually if they're like getting yellow leaves or anything like that, that's usually an Epsom salt fix. A quick little pinch of garden Epsom salt, a tablespoon in a gallon of water. Epsom salt, plant nutrient, corrects yellow leaves caused by magnesium and sulfur deficiencies. This stuff here, you cannot, you're gonna see benefits. You ever heard of CalMag? Well, there's some of your magnesium right here, along with some sulfites. Kind of like it's a good salt, but too much of it is bad. You don't want to overload with too much salt. A little bit goes a long ways, like the FAA, the fish amino acid. This here, this is 2-year-old catfish fish amino acid. It's just fish and brown sugar. And it smells like brown sugar. No fish smell whatsoever. It actually smells sweet and good. People think it stinks. It does not stink. It does not stink. Fermented plant juice stinks. Like the stuff we got outside in the buckets, that's anaerobic plant material. That smells like swamp ass. This smells like sugar because that's what we use to break down the fish. So it's just fish carcasses and guts and everything. Without the sugar, it would smell the whole county up. You wouldn't be able to open the bucket and get it away from your nose. But you add the sugar breaks down the molecules and turns it into goodness, plant-rich goodness. If you want to know the science behind it, I highly recommend just chat GPT fish amino acid, and you will see it's a microbial. It is a microbial stimulant. It stimulates microbes. It's kind of like giving them crack cocaine. Gets them going, gets them moving. You know what I mean? And when they move, they eat and they produce nutrients for plants, and you get to see the results. What's up? Which one was you? Yeah, Cooter? That was Cooter. What's up, Scooter? Everything looks good. We might have to bring in a little bit of water. Looks like we're a little low on our rock. That means the bed is really wicking up a lot of water. I don't see a whole lot in our, we see some, but it's not a lot. That means there's a lot of roots, a lot of things going on that are wicking up that water, sucking up a lot of water. All the grasses are sucking up a lot of water. The D-hue we've got set at 65, so that's high, so we're not dripping as much. The D-hue cuts on and off now instead of just running full time like we do in flower. So that basically the 2.5 months we're in flower, the D-hue doesn't shut off. Now we get to about, we set at 65, that means it cuts off in here at about 62, 63, which is right where we want it, and then it fluxes in between 60 and 63. When set at that level, it'll shut off. It shuts off, well, when I'm in here for a couple of hours at a time, it'll shut off like 4 or 5 times and then kick back on. So that's telling me, you know, it's maintaining that humidity level pretty well for just a frigid air. It's rated for 1,500 square feet room. We're in a 550 square foot room, so it's triple what it's rated for. We just redirect the air. The air does not go out, it stays inside. It's blowing out over there. I'm just separating some of that hot air that's blowing and blowing it over into this side of the room where the mini split's blowing straight in here. We got fans all the way around, floor fan over there. We've also got a fan sitting on the counter over here. So we've got good wind. You can see everything blows and moves like it's supposed to. And that's all we're looking for, is that air movement. As long as we got that circulation, we've got the mini split circulating air, D-hue circulating air, all the fans circulating air. This room is not airtight, so Opening up the door, there's air coming in from underneath the door over there. Around, I tried to back it up, but then I realized we need airflow. We need to suck in some of that fresh, clean air. So that's what the mini split does. It's going to suck that air in. Just like if you were in a tent, you know, you turn your exhaust on, it sucks the tent in. And we're just sucking some clean, fresh air from outside in by not sealing the room completely up. This way lizards can come. That's how the blue-tailed skinks come in, the lizards come in, and things that I didn't know were in here come in. The snake can come in. I'm sure there's a black snake in here. I haven't seen a rat or a mouse in forever. I'm pretty sure that's why. He's probably hidden up in these rocks somewhere and only comes out at night. We'll probably find the skin somewhere, especially now that it's winter time. It'll be pushed inside here, so I'm betting that there's one probably up in these rocks here. They can get up in there and create a home, like that hole right there goes up into the bed. Plenty of room for a snake. If you're wondering how tall this is, I'm 6'3", and that's about 5 feet tall right there at the top of the mountain. Dehu just runs in. Just a primitive design. It's nothing special. This is all experimental. I didn't go. This is why I kind of haven't sealed all of this, because there's no real need to. This is all, I'm not going to be tearing this down by no means, but this will not be the only one we ever make. We're going to be building another one, a much better designed one. This is like the first one I've ever done, so a lot to learn, and we have learned in just a year's time what we can and can't do. And there are quite a few things I wish I had done that we'll do on the next one. And the next one will be that much better. So, we hope anyway. I appreciate everybody hanging out. I hope everybody enjoys their Friday and their weekend, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.